Hello, everyone, and welcome to Bold Women Lawyers Spotlight Interview. I know we have a lot of people listening in today. We have a very hot topic we're talking about, which is Chat GPT and AI. And I have a wonderful guest with us, Katie Riess. Now, Katie, I'm going to tell you about her, and then I'm going to
Yes.
ask her a question to get her started and let her jump in, because I know we all are dying to hear about, particularly Chat GPT. Katie spent more than 15 years as a TV news producer, working on some of the biggest news programs in the industry, including NBC News, CBS News, and Bloomberg TV. In 2013, she flipped the script to learn the world of PR and started KT Media Strategies, which is what her professional life is now. She actually
Yes.
lives not far from me in beautiful Annapolis, Maryland. And I'm really, really thrilled to have her here today. So Katie, welcome.
Thank you so much, Sharon. Thanks for having me on.
It's my pleasure. So let's just get right into it, because I know I've been
Yes.
hearing all about, AI in the background, but Chat GPT. So I don't even know what it is. Honestly, I
Yeah.
really don't. So let's start there. What is it? And I will tell you first, if you see me mute myself, as I explained to you, I unexpectedly have a puppy in my office. So I'm going to put myself on mute in case there's any background noise. But jump in, Katie. Tell us, what in the world is Chat GPT?
Yeah, and hopefully I won't have a child running into my office unexpectedly. Chat GPT, it came on the scene very quickly. We had been hearing about AI and some things that it could do, especially, since they were trying to send drones into, Afghanistan, how many years ago, that were unmanned. And, really AI took off from the military space. And then it became something that people became more familiar with in the business space. And then just boom, we had Chat GPT. Like, what is this platform? And right now it's free. So everybody is jumping in to try to use it. Basically, you go on and you ask it questions, and it learns and it adapts to your answers. So you can literally ask it anything, and it will do anything from we've seen people, we just heard today somebody talk about, it was making their grocery list for them. It was creating a whole menu based on different things, like do a low sodium diet or a diet that's good for diabetes, and it made them a menu and spewed out a list of shopping items. How cool is that? But it really is being used a lot professionally and in business. And for the journalist in me, and the journalism aspect, I'm like, whoa, wait, time out. There could be some really interesting problems that arise with this. So people are using it for marketing material, for coming up with any kind of written content, really, that you can tell it to give you a paragraph about introducing a certain topic, and you just kind of give it as much information as you think it needs to kind of spew something back out at you. And then you can say, okay, can you do that, but from my voice, or from somebody in particular's voice? And then if they say they know it or they don't, you can say, okay, make this sound bubblier, or make this sound more professional. Or I've seen people use it for intros into their podcast, or write this copy for social media, for example. It's a great one. Write this social media copy using a pun about something, and incorporate this and that. And it really does, for what you're asking, it on the surface does a really, really great job at it. I was really surprised when I started playing around with it and hearing other people's stories about it. It was on the ball for a lot of it, which is really kind of scary, but
it is scary.
Well,
let me stop you for a second and ask this. Like, how can it write in my voice, which is different? Let's say I'm writing, and I'm going to focus on marketing, because as you and I discussed, I think there's a lot of legal issues coming down the road related to copyright, and are you plagiarizing, and all kinds of stuff like that. And we're not going to get into using this on the law side of a law business, because I think that's a whole nother area. Like if you're writing a brief, are you going to use Chat GPT to write your legal brief? And I'm
Right.
waiting for those cases to get decided.
I
But
see the same thing. I see the same thing with, is it going to be writing our media pitches? And I
correct.
definitely think it should not be, and it should not be writing legal briefs, but we'll get into that in a second.
But in terms of just, basic marketing, like I need to, I'm posting on LinkedIn, I'm posting on Instagram or Facebook, wherever I'm posting about, let's
Mhm.
say I want to talk about, I'm a lawyer and I'm a trust and estates lawyer, and I want to talk about why you need a will. That's a post I'm going to put up on social media. Is that something I can go to Chat GPT and say, hey, can you write me 3 paragraphs on why somebody needs a will and write it in my voice?
Absolutely. And what it does is it will pull your voice from what's online. So your online profile, anything that's online, anything that you wrote previously from your website, from your social media, it will pull things from those places to kind of be in your voice. It may not know your voice. It may say, I don't know your voice, but you could describe your voice. You could say from a lawyer's point of view, or you could say
Yeah.
from a marketing point of view. And it would absolutely write it. And I think it might just need to be tweaked, but it gets pretty darn close. It gets pretty darn close. And so I'm excited and scared about this at the same time. We haven't seen anything that really does this in this way. I think we need to keep in mind, though, that's what I was going to talk about next, is it's a really fun tool to play around with. Definitely play around with it, see where it goes. I'm really curious for you to put that in and see what it says, and see if it can do it in your voice, and if not, can it do it, if you can describe it. So even if it says it can't do it, then just keep giving it some information, and it will hone in, and it learns the information that you give it learns it, and it remembers it.
Wow.
So that everything that's written from then on out will have that base knowledge that you told them even in a previous session with it. So it remembers everything, and you can get that in a matter of seconds. You would get 3 paragraphs that you probably could use. You would just need to edit it a little bit. So, but what I do want to keep in people's minds is it's not going to probably give you something that's the end result, but it can get you from nothing to something very quickly. It can give you the outline, it can give you a starting point with things like marketing material. So for us doing PR, it's going to be where we get ideas from, and we can say, you know, here's the topic, here's our client's information, and here's the media outlet we are going toward, and it will give us, it's not going to write the pitch for us, because that still really needs the human touch. And I think that will be the same thing across the board for every industry, especially law, though. But for every industry, it will give you a really good outline. It can give you ideas. It can really spark things, and that's the exciting piece.
Okay, so let's keep talking about that a little bit, because I think some people have the idea that it can just do it all for me. It'll write everything. It will do the whole thing for me, and I just sit back and say, write me something this long about this topic, and boom, it's up and running. But it's a little more complicated than that, right?
It is. It is.
Yeah.
It still is going to need that human touch, right? It's still, you, I think, would still realize it is written by a computer. It's not written by a human. So I think where there is room for interpretation, like in marketing and PR and like in law, it is going to need to be tweaked and revamped. And it should not be something, from my perspective, it should not be something that um totally ignores the values of humanity. Like, we still have to have that human touch in there, but it is a really great way to get started with things. If so you're still going to need that marketing person. You're still going to need that lawyer. You're still going to need that PR person, but can it spark ideas and get to things more quickly? I really do think it's a really good resource for that.
Yes, and and I love that because particularly on the when I'm a lawyer and I'm writing a brief or I'm writing a motion or I'm writing a contract or whatever I'm writing, um, there may be some creativity in terms of the argument I'm making, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't need the ideas sparked because I know what the issue is that I'm going to be writing about. Okay, so that's on the legal side when I'm working as a lawyer, but with my clients, I'm a business coach for these lawyers, and with my clients working on the business side, a lot of times it is tough, and they get stuck with, I don't even know where to start. I don't have any ideas.
Mm-hmm.
What am I going to write about? What would be interesting to my audience? So would Chat GPT come into play there? If I'm thinking, well, like I said, say I'm a trust and estates lawyer, and I want to post something about things to think about when you're preparing your will.
Mm-hmm.
Can Chat GPT help give me a list of things that I might want to include in that? Okay. Okay.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
it's a way of speeding up research. Think of it that way. It Instead of having to spend a few hours researching on Google, it does it for you in a matter of seconds, and it can give it to you in something you can literally copy and paste into another document. So it really is another search engine. If we think about it that way, it's another tool, it's another search engine. It gets you through that Google process in a matter of seconds. Um, so I think if we look at it that way, it's really exciting and fun rather than, getting down the rabbit hole of it can write complete things and, is it going to be determining what's newsworthy and what's not and what's legal and what's not? Like,
Hmm.
no,
Hmm.
gosh, I hope we never have to get lawyers involved to determine those things. But I think it's really great as a research tool. That's what
Well,
it's
and
designed for.
yeah, that's a really important, I think, a really important point because when you think of it that way, as another platform, as a faster research tool to get you the information you want quicker that you need in your business, that
Hmm.
that's very different than, oh, this is sort of the robotic technology that we've all been waiting for, that's just going to do all the work for me, and I just sit back and say, write this, write that,
Yeah.
write the
And
other
I,
thing.
I think the other thing that we've seen is people being afraid that it's going to take away people's jobs. It's going to replace academia, for example. There's a whole discussion about if kids should be using this in school and if they should
Yeah.
be using it to write papers. I mean, college kids could be using it to write their papers. Like, oh my gosh, we get into a lot of issues when we start getting into academia,
Yeah.
especially with this. So it is something that we have to look at very carefully. But does it have the ability to start that press release for me or that, the background information? Yeah, it does.
Yes.
And that I'm okay with that part of it. I'm okay with
Hmm.
it giving us the tools to kind of do the research and the things faster, to get to you from like I said, from nothing to something, to a baseline, to an outline, to maybe sparking some creativity that you hadn't thought of before. That is really what it's going to be really good for. Of course, I mean, you can't get on the platform most of the time right now because it's so busy,
Yeah.
because people are using it literally for everything. I hadn't even thought about using it for meal planning and prepping. Like, that's genius.
Yes.
Genius.
Yes.
Again,
Especially for those of us who
if
hate
you
to
like
do
spending
it.
a
Like,
lot of
oh,
time, if you like spending a
yeah.
lot of time doing that research, I have 3 little boys. I don't have time to do it. I'm really bad at it. So
Right.
I can't wait to use it for that. I hadn't thought about that. I just thought about professionally, but in our everyday lives, to make things a little bit easier and
Yeah,
get us
yeah.
things quicker, so that we can be spending our time doing the other things that we need to be doing. I think it's beautiful for that. I do.
So
But
so
it needs to
it's
just be that tool, not the end result for everything.
correct. And yet something you said I think is so important. There's nothing worse than staring at the blank screen saying to yourself, "Oh, I know I need to write a post. I need to write some marketing material. I need to write something, that's going to be put up on my website, whatever it might be. I need to
Mhm.
write." And all you do is stare at that blank screen and you just can't get kickstarted.
Mhm.
And I mean, that happens to me certainly, and with some regularity. And, uh, to have a tool that could get me started on certain topics, give me some ideas, and then I can run with it from there.
Mhm.
That's genius. But as
Yeah.
you said it's free right now. Is that right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
How long do you think
It's in
that's
a
going to be?
beta version. I don't
Hmm.
know. That's a great
Hmm.
question. It's in a beta version right now. They are, I think, getting everybody interested enough to that then when they do go to paid, they have everybody hooked and they are going to make a lot of money on this.
I think that's
Um,
probably true.
yeah,
uh,
yeah,
but
because they will get people hooked in terms. So I think everybody should try to get on and play with it while they can, while it's still free.
yeah,
Um,
I agree with you because it just so you can begin to feel comfortable with it, figure
mhm.
out what it is, what you can use it for, what you can't use it for, where it does a good job, where it doesn't. And then you're right. At some point, it will no longer be free. And at that point, then you can decide this is for me, it's not for me, or it's only for me in my personal life, or this is how
Right.
I'm going to use it in my business life, right?
And I'm
Hmm.
willing to pay a little bit to have it help me with writing my post or my marketing
Right,
material or whatever
right,
it is. But you'll still need to have that storytelling element to things, especially with marketing. It's not gonna know a lot of the details that you still need to put in there, but it is great for a starting point. It
I
really,
love that.
really is.
I love that point because you're right. The most effective marketing you do is the marketing that says to your potential client, "I understand your problem." As a lawyer,
Mhm.
I understand the problem. I understand the effect it's having on your life. And when you tell that in a story, it's extremely effective. I represented Fred, and Fred's not his real name, and you're going to change the, description so that Fred's not identifiable even by another name. This was his problem. This is the effect it had on his life. He was up, nights worrying about it, blah, blah, blah. And here were the steps that I was able to take to help. Or here were some of the options that we looked at, depending on what the issue
Mhm.
is. But the
Mhm.
more you can tell stories that lets the client understand that you really do know where they're coming from, you really do know what problems they're dealing with, and that you understand that at a human level, the better it
Yeah.
is. Yeah,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
they have to know you, like you, and trust you, as we all know,
Yes.
before you ever get hired. And it sounds like Chat GPT can't add that element to it.
Not quite to where it needs to be. You can say things to it like, make this relatable to this type of person, if that type of person can be described.
Interesting.
You
Yeah.
actually can say that, and it will
Yeah.
pull things that are pain points for that person. You
Wow.
can get really specific with it. It might take a little bit of back and forth, but literally takes 2 minutes versus 2 hours of
Hmm. Hmm.
Googling or looking things
Hmm.
up. So you
Hmm.
can get ideas that way, is how
Hmm.
I would preface it. It is just kind of getting the ideas that way, and
Hmm.
it will give you some specifics, and it will be pretty good. It just won't be 100%, but it will
Hmm.
be pretty good.
Hmm.
You can describe the type of audience you're going for, the type of
Oh,
audience you're going
interesting.
after.
Okay.
You can
Okay.
say, write this post with this information for this audience.
Oh, that is interesting. Okay.
And
So
then
if
it
I
will
know
give
my
you
ideal
something.
client, yeah, I
Yeah.
can write it for my ideal client, right?
Yes.
Presumably,
It's not going to be able to give you your ideal client, though. You know what I mean? Like, you do
right,
have to get to a
exactly.
certain point where you can really describe it in a way it will understand. But it can give you it'll give you a paragraph, or however many paragraphs you ask it for.
Okay.
And then you can say, okay, now write it for this example, or you can drill down even more and see if
Mm-hmm.
it can find more. And sometimes it does, and sometimes it doesn't.
Doesn't.
I don't think that people are going to be, there's been a lot of questions in terms of, are people going to be starting their books this way?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that is interesting. That's a whole nother topic. You get your writer's cramps, and to get through them, are people going to turn to Chat GPT to say, describe a character for me that is in this situation, that it has this problem that is they're trying to solve, but they have this block? And I mean, it will spew out as much as you want it to.
So the lawyer in me is saying, okay, but do I have to give attribution to Chat GPT?
Right.
Like if I
Right.
say I've written this book, I've written this article, I've written this whatever, do I have to acknowledge that, yeah, it was me, but there was some input from Chat GPT? I don't know.
That's
I don't
the
know.
big question
Big
mark, right?
question. Yes.
That's going to
Yes.
be something they're going to have to deal with and think through. Is this, as the AI gets better and better, because somebody will want to come in and up the ante on Chat GPT and be like,
Sure.
our platform is even better. As this keeps going, because it has been very popular so far, how are we going to deal with that? Is there going to need to be some laws put in place, or some things put in place where you say, especially copyright issues, how are we going to handle copyright issues? Is it going to
Yeah.
be that you can only have a certain percentage of it right for you? And are they going to have to tailor the programs to then say, no, you're at your max with this? Like, I literally can't write this whole book for you. Like, there's
Yeah.
going to have to be a lot of thinking behind this, because it does work so well.
So here's what I think. I think this is a boon for intellectual property lawyers. I think they're going to be very busy as this grows.
Absolutely.
Yeah, trying to
Absolutely.
figure out those issues, because this is an area where we've not ventured into so far. So it will be fascinating. But as I said, if I step back from the actual writing part and just think of it as a tool to help me, as a research tool, as a research platform to generate ideas, I love that. Okay, so here's my question. I've only heard of it, haven't tried it. How do you even get started? Where do you go? What do you do?
You literally you can Google Chat GPT.
Oh, okay.
And then there is just, it shows up and it's like, what do you want to ask me today? And you literally just start typing in, and
I
you
love
just
it.
start a
Okay.
chat. It's very
Okay.
easy. You don't need a profile. You don't have to log in. You don't have to do any of that.
Man, that is easy. Okay, I think I'm going to get on and
Yeah.
ask it how to quickly get my puppy to stop biting and see what it says.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think you should also ask it the will question. I'm
Yes, I
curious
will. I will.
what it does with that. I haven't played around with it in terms of much outside of PR, because I am curious, obviously, for our purposes, what it could do, what it would give us. So I've been playing around with it when I can get on these days.
Yes.
I should have been doing it a month ago. I think I just found out about it about a month ago, in December, and you could get on then, but now it's a lot harder. But when I can get on, I usually am it's about, you know, things for authors, things for our clients in terms of, you know, it also is a good indication of what's out there already, because it's pulling from things that are already out there.
Yeah.
So if it doesn't really know something, then you know, oh, there's not a lot out there.
Not a lot there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
I'm curious how it does. One thing I do want to expand with it is, can it write a back and forth? Can it write a script between two people
Oh,
instead of
interesting.
just from one
Yeah.
person's perspective? So that's something I want
Yes.
to try next.
Okay. All right. Good. Well, you since we're in a mastermind together, you can let me know how that goes. Yeah.
Yeah, I will. I will.
So, Katie, tell us a little bit about KT Media Strategies and what kind of, I gave a little description, but tell us a little more about the work that you do and how,
Yeah.
if someone who's listening wants to get in touch with you, how they do that.
Yeah. So I was a TV news producer for a long time. And then I found my 2.0, I call it, when I had my son 10 years ago and said, I actually turned down a job at CNN to be Candy
Wow.
Crowley's Sunday show producer. Yeah, it was going to be a really big job, but I couldn't do it. I had a 6-month-old. The hours were going to be all over the place, weekends, you know, nights, just all this
Yeah.
stuff. And it would have been the job of a lifetime, but I chose to go a different direction and really flip the script. As you said earlier too, that I say that, I went from being one of these people like, oh, I'm a journalist. I do the, you know, I worked for CBS News. Like, I do the real journalism. PR is writing press releases, like whatever. Then I found out what it really entailed and what it was really about. And I started looking into it, and I worked for different companies, one that worked just for just for authors. And I really found that I loved it because I was helping people versus helping a big media conglomerate get bigger. You know, I had convinced myself I was helping people through spreading information through news, but which was like, you know, the excited 12-year-old girl in me, that I always wanted to do that, right? But then I
Sure.
really am
Sure.
helping people now. Yeah, so I really am helping people now, you know, get their message to the masses through the
Exactly.
knowledge that I know, having worked in the media. Um, I then took all the knowledge of PR and doing book launches and working with bigger companies and smaller companies and developed, you know, my own company, saying I want to be able to get my own clients and not work for other people's clients. I started KT Media Strategies 6 years ago, and we work with entrepreneurs, authors, and small businesses and get them media placement, help with media placement, all kinds of media. So everything from podcasts, radio, TV, any type of online print publication. There's internet radio. We help with hooking people up with different influencers to do social media lives. You know, there's a lot of different things that you can do with it now, and really just working with people's goals and what they want to do with their businesses, with their thought leadership, with their books, with their products, whatever it is, and get them out to their exact right audiences through figuring out what that audience's pain points are, and then we bring the, you know, the solutions to them through those media outlets where those people are. So it's been amazing. It really has been amazing. I love working with people doing this. I have really surprised myself as to how much I really love it. So
Oh, that's great. That's great. And listen, for all of our listeners, of course, you know, women lawyers and solo and small law firms, those are small businesses, and they fit right into what you're describing in terms
yeah.
of the media and strategies to get their message out. So,
Yeah,
Katie,
we've
if
worked with
somebody,
quite a few
yes,
lawyers. We've worked with quite a few lawyers. So our website is the letters ktmediastrategies.com.
okay,
And I think that's the best place, or I'm on social media as KT Media Strategies as well.
okay.
And that's probably the best place to start, is to check out our website. It's mostly just about me. I do have a team of, yes, thank you. I do have a
You're welcome.
team of 10 publicists, director of operations, and I have a whole team behind me. I have somebody who does social media for our clients. I have somebody who helps get speaking engagements for clients. So we really can do as much as people want.
Mhm.
And I say that we're small but mighty, that we're the boutique firm where you're going to get that personal touch.
Love
So
it.
I've
Yeah.
made sure of
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm
Wonderful. And
really excited about things like Chat GPT. It's gonna change things a lot. So
I know. I know.
we got to stay tuned for that.
I was just going to
But
say, stay tuned. And
yeah,
so in 6 months, we're going to come back and let's see where we are in 6 months and how things
yeah,
have
great.
changed. How's that sound? Yeah.
That
Okay.
sounds great. Yeah, let's do
All
it.
right, Katie. Well, listen, thank you. Thank you. I've thoroughly enjoyed talking to you and to our
Thank
listeners.
you.
If you want to get in touch with Katie, go to her website, ktmediastrategies.com. Get in touch with her that way. And for those of you who know me, if you need to get in touch with me about anything, or you want to schedule a clarity call with me to work on your business, just get in touch with me at Sharon@boldwomenlawyers.com. Katie, thank you. And I hope
Thank
you
you
have
so
a
much, Sharon.
wonderful rest of your day.
Thanks. You as well. Let me know what you play around with, what comes up on
I
Chat
will. I'll
GPT.
report. I'll report back.
Yeah, I can't
Okay.
wait.
All right.
Thanks,
Thanks.
Sharon.